Well, hello, welcome everyone to another barbecue pit. Today we have the almost 42 years now carnival, isn't it?
Um, I started in 83, but it's really 41 years. You got to remember that 6 or 7 months of vegan experiment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you take that out, so you know, I mean, it's always good to experiment, isn't it? So, but it didn't go too well, did it?
Oh no, it's I still remember how bad it was. I mean, nonstop diarrhea, feeling sick all the time. That's not living.
No, that's right. Yeah, yeah. No matter how much they proclaim it to be so healthy and the way we're supposed to eat. But I've never seen a salad on a cave wall, man.
No, the funny thing is, if it's supposed to be so good for you, it always tasted bad. It made me feel bad. So how could it be so good? I was raised thinking that in order for food to be healthy, it had to taste bad and make you feel terrible.
Yeah,
Now I realize that's nonsense.
it's crazy, isn't it? And I don't know why they torture themselves so much. Like I was thinking about this morning actually because there was a debate thing a few days back where this idiot thinks that you know fat causes glycation and things like that. Like there's some really dangerous people out there giving just ridiculous advice, health advice, and honestly, I think they just make this shit up. Honestly, um, but
Mhm.
the amount of comments, the people that follow them, it's crazy. Like they fight so hard to say you must do this, you must eat this, this happens, and all this sort of other bull crap. Like fat's called fat for a reason. It makes you fat. Ridiculous crap like that. But I
Well,
think it's like smokers, like they're so addicted to these things. If you try and tell a smoker that, you should stop smoking for your health, they get all like, defensive about it as well.
that's right. The thing is, like in my case, they can say that fat makes you fat, that calories are what count. So I prove to them just by my existence that they're completely wrong. So then they go to another form of attack. They say, well,
Yeah.
that Rick guy, he looks terrible. He has dark circles under his eyes. He looks unhealthy. Like, well, they think I look pale. I'm like, come on, people. You're reaching for straws. I
Yeah.
challenge any of them. None of them ever have any pictures or videos, by the way. And I always
Yeah.
say, I challenge you. If you can find another 56-year-old that looks better, I want to meet him. And so far, nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, they keep telling me like it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm like, are you kidding me, right? Like, I've gone from like I'm more than 10 years, almost 10.5 years in remission now
Mm-hmm.
on zero medication from like being paralyzed in bed after years of chemotherapy, and they're telling me it doesn't work.
Well, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, like I've got the proof. Like where's yours?
And the
Um,
thing is, they'll always say, well, it's a modern medicine that did it. But I know a lot of people, they've had the modern medicine treatments and they still ended up dying from cancer. And then the other
that's
thing
right.
too is I said, well, look, if you got, and you're not, there's a couple other people out there. I mean, you're a great example because you've beaten it better than anyone, I think. But even the people that didn't beat cancer, their quality of life went up. And they tell me, well, red meat causes colon cancer. And I said, yeah, but then you have a Lee Copus over there that he had to have his intestines removed and he has to eat a carnivore diet. And
Yeah,
there's nothing coming out. It's like, well, if it's going to give you so much cancer, you're eating all this fiber that's fermenting in your system and tearing you up and making gas and expanding you and all those plant chemicals. Then they say that beef is going to cause
yeah,
colon cancer. I mean, really? You got to be
yeah,
kidding me.
yeah. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have. I mean, I have so many tests, like every 3 months of still monitoring everything. Like even last month I did CT scans, ultrasounds, urine tests, blood tests, all sorts of stuff, and like no trace of or no evidence of disease. Which for follicular lymphoma, which is a recurrent type of cancer, that's like that's in like that's incredible, you know. But yeah, then they leave stupid comments like, "Why is your skin like that?" I was like, "What? You know, idiot! It's
Well,
amazing."
that's what I'm trying to say. And the thing is, in real life, when I talk to people that don't know me, like I go to the get together, they ask me how old I am, and I tell them my age. And
Yeah,
like, they're shocked. Everybody's always shocked. I mean, what is,
yeah, I'm the same. Like, and like that's another thing too. Like, people keep telling me I don't look like I'm 52 years old, and I look pretty healthy. You I'm pretty healthier and fitter than a lot of 52-year-olds. You know,
mm-hmm.
um, but that's still not enough. Like I don't know, these people are retarded. Honestly, I mean, they have the vegan brain is like it's just so deprived of nutrients. It's dried up.
Well, I had someone think that Durian Ryder looked healthier than me. I said, you got to be kidding. I mean,
Mm,
seriously, maybe he has more muscle definition, but look at his skin and it's all kind of his face is like, I don't know. It's these vegans, when they get older, they tend to like shrink and then
oh
it's like
yeah,
their skin is bigger than their body. It's just crazy.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
admit I'm very skinny, but I don't look like that.
yeah. They look like raisins. Yeah,
Exactly. They look like raisins. I don't look like that. I mean, I am skinny, but there's nothing hanging. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's
that's right.
no everything is the right size. And I have a
It's
full head of hair, you
Yeah,
know.
it's that slim fat look. Like they've still got that adipose tissue, and then the muscles are so like they're shrinking. They don't realize that like all their tissues are shrinking, like the mass, the muscle mass, the bone mass, everything is all shrinking and deteriorating.
Right.
But
And
they think that
the
they're
thing
slim.
it happens. I know that they've said this many times, but it happens in their 40s. There's like one, they start aging early 40s and then it kind of stops. And then around 60 or somewhere around there, it just accelerates like crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, really, they. I mean, that's one of the big things too. Like carbohydrates really age people. I mean, it's the high deuterium count, like in the food. They get away with it
Mhm.
when they're young and they're active, but when you get older and slow down, you know, that's
Well,
uh,
that's
that's
it.
when that's when everything really hits them hard. But
That's
they're not
right.
going to. Of course, they don't think that. They don't see that. It's like you can put like a liter of diesel in your car and fill up the rest with unleaded. You're not going to see much damage, but in the long run, it's still going to be there. You know, so
That's it.
yeah, they just don't get it. But I mean, when they come out with stupid crap like like um, carbohydrates or glucose supports hormone production,
Hmm.
stuff like that. I mean, it's honestly like they have zero idea, like zero knowledge when it comes to how the body works at all. So they just make crap up. It's insane.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
even though you need it, it's like water. You wouldn't stick a fire hose in your mouth and then try to drink water from that because you drown. These people load up with carbohydrates. You ought to see, you go to any get together, the sodas, the juices, then you have all the bread and all the chips. They always have these chips with the dip in
yeah,
there, the tortilla chips. They gobble that stuff up like crazy. And,
yeah,
you know, I go there and I grab the water and then I wait for the meat. I eat as much meat as I can and then I drink water and that's it. And then they got
yeah,
the beer and the wine and the alcohol and all that. But the funny thing is, it doesn't bother me because I guess when you've done it as long as I have, you've eaten the way I have, to live the way that I have, it's just it's natural to me and it doesn't bother me when I see other people do this. And I look at them, especially at a pool party, because they'll have their shorts on that you can see more of their body that it normally looks like. And you go, yeah, they may look okay with clothes on, but when they start getting in the pool, you can't hide anything. And you can
no,
always
that's
see
right.
the gut, and then every year they seem to get older. It's like, well, okay, but you're pouring all that cheap duck food into your mouth, and what do you expect?
Yeah, and it's like they just can't stop eating either. You know, like this
That
idiot.
too.
This idiot the other day, like she just couldn't stop stuffing her face. You know, like for not even for a video. Like couldn't even do can't even do a video without stuffing your face. Like yeah, it's crazy. Must be
And
something wrong if you have to keep eating, like constantly eating, grazing like a cow.
well, the funny thing is, no matter how much they eat, when they bring out the cake and the donuts and the desserts, they always have room for dessert, and it's amazing to me. I've had people say, "Oh, I've had enough to eat." When they pass the pie and the cake around, then they have room for that always. I don't think I've ever seen one person that didn't refuse a dessert. That did refuse a dessert.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. I mean, everyone around me is the same. You know, like they love. I mean, I understand. Like people are just addicted to sweet. You know, and that's what it is. You know, like I was saying, it's like you try to tell a smoker to give up smoking for their health, and they get all defensive about it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they're addicted to sweet. You know, same as most of the population. You know, so it's just the way it is, I guess. I'm getting muscles, but they don't feel like they have any strength as I don't do weights. I do want to get some weights to build up strength, and the body changes just by eating. Yeah, it really is. It is amazing. Like your body gets the right nutrients in the right order, and it will grow and it will thrive. You know, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, g'day, mate. How's it going? Yeah. I mean, when you get, I mean, this is the thing. Like when I asked them, you know, how do you support liver, like, or how do you support hormone production? They're just like, oh, glucose, but they have no clue when it comes to all these amino acids, how important they are to the body, how much we need them for. It's not just about muscle. I think a lot of it too is they're obsessed with how fit and muscly they all are and stuff like that as well. They think that's healthy as well. So it's crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in. You get that, I guess. Anyway, not much you can do about that, except for what we're already doing, I guess. So,
Yeah,
mm,
I don't even think it makes any difference because I don't even try to tell anybody anything unless they ask me. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time because people live their life. They have the right to do so, and
yeah,
nothing I'm going to say to them is going to change their mind.
no, that's right. I mean, I don't really. I mean, honestly, I don't really care what. If someone takes it on board, that's great. And if I can help someone avoid the traps that I went through, that's great. But honestly, I don't care if someone eats this way or not. But what I am saying is like this is what I eat, this is how I eat, and this is why I eat it this way, and this is why it works for me. You know, and they're telling me that it doesn't work. I'm like, you're right. You're serious, right? Like, yeah. So, yeah, yeah, it's just crazy. Anyway, what do you do? The healthiest people I know are the strongest, but they don't look it.
It's
Yeah,
funny you mentions that because that's
yeah,
one of the things that I always amaze people with when it comes time to lift something or move something and my grip strength and all that. People are shocked. They're thinking, how in the world can such a skinny guy? I said, yeah, but I'm 6'6". I may be skinny, but those muscles are long and my grip, I mean, I can break things with that. So
yeah,
and I think a lot of it, and think about this. How many people do you know that are 6'6" that never had any back issues? I
yeah,
don't even know what back pain feels like. And I can squat down. People look at me, they're like, how do you do this? I sit down a lot of times, like if I have to sit on the ground, I just squat down. My rear stays off the ground. I don't have to sit on the ground. Most people will sit on the ground. I can stay off of it and I can bend sideways and climb things. I never have a problem. And I don't really work out. I don't have an exercise program. And I try to explain to people maybe it's my lifestyle. Maybe it's the fact that I'm always moving. I eat the carnivore diet. Maybe what I'm made out of is stronger than average. I mean, I crashed into a coconut tree riding my bike and I walked away with a few scratches, didn't break anything.
mm,
So there's got to be something to this. I know someone that
yeah,
broke his toe going upstairs. Really?
Right.
I
I mean,
found I
seriously, some of those vegan doctors, like I mean, like I forget, was it Barnard or something? He broke his toe or something just stepping out of the damn bathtub. Yeah. I mean, God, I mean, seriously, they're so weak, like they're so fragile, but they don't understand why. You know?
I had a coconut tree fall on me in a hurricane, and the thing trapped me on the ground, and I had to use a jack to jack off the tree to get it off of me. I got out from under the tree, and I had a few scratches, and then I know my parents were alive at the time, and my mother says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Well, I feel okay." And I had a couple of aches and pains, but can you imagine a coconut tree falling on you? If I would have been a vegan, I would have broken in a million pieces.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You would have shattered your bones for sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Any kind of weight on them, they just, I mean, they're so fragile, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the vegan girls I know, she's already broken her finger, and I think what else did she break? She broke something else. I can't remember, but I keep telling her, I said, you got to get stronger, or one day you're going to break your hip, and then you'll be like your mother that had the broken hip and ended up in a nursing home and died. That's not the way to go.
No, that's right. No, it's like, I mean, we always say it's about, you know, like health span, not lifespan, you know. And it's about, you don't want to be, you reach to, 70, 80 years old and then spend another 10, 20 years in bed sort of thing. You know,
Right.
no one
And
wants
see,
to live
you
like
have
that.
that
That's
experience.
what it is.
You
Yeah.
have that experience yourself being trapped in bed. And now you can see the improvements that you have.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, we don't tell the vegans that because it doesn't work. You know,
And
it's
that's a
crazy.
good comment from Jonathan, because I can't imagine anyone thinking that he looks fragile. He looks like a monster to me. So,
Yeah, he's a big boy. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to get mad at me, that's for sure.
No. My pain disorder makes me feel extremely fragile. Yeah, you do feel that way. Even when I can visually see that there are no obvious defects or weaknesses. Yeah. I mean, when you're in pain, you always feel fragile. You know, when you're in constant pain, you feel brittle, you feel stiff, you feel fragile, like anything's going to break you, sort of thing. You know, I mean, it's constant. It wears you down. You know, but Jonathan, he's a trooper, man. He just keeps going, and I mean, he's still. I mean, a lot of people in his position, they wouldn't be going to the gym. They wouldn't
No.
be trying to give people health advice, or trying to help them with their nutrition and things
See,
like that.
I
So,
think I think one of the reasons why we get along is because Rick's heart attack diet kind of goes along with that. Because the thing is, when you're on the heart attack diet, you're not trying to extend your life. You're trying to make the best out of what you got. And that's what
yeah,
Jonathan does. That's an example of someone, all these problems, all these limitations, and he finds a way around it. And I got a lot of respect for that. I'm always talking about him and his channel because I've always been impressed by him, and we've been like for years. I mean, since he started his channel. So I'm just glad that he's still out there, still doing his thing, because I think he's a good example. I mean, if that's the kind of, you want to have that kind of physique and you want to have that kind of um, life, that's good. And if you're not really a person that works out and you just want to work for a living, and you can still do the carnivore diet. So you got me on one extreme, he's on the other extreme. And then for the people that have cancer, well, look, we have right over here someone that survived cancer on this diet. So the vegans can say all they want, the naysayers can say all they want. They can bring their studies, they can come up with all these ideas, manipulate data, but the reality is we're here, we're alive, and we're proving them wrong.
yeah, that's exactly right. Rick. We are proving them wrong, even if I mean, they come up with all these ridiculous, so-called studies, and even like any lab study, like they test one process when the body has a million processes going on all at once, sort of thing. But so it's not a lot of validity in what any of them say, really. Um, but they keep telling, "Oh, we're wrong, we're wrong, we're wrong." Well, the real world, it doesn't matter how good the study is. If it doesn't work in the real world, it doesn't mean shit. you know. Yeah, his best story, Rick chasing a iguana up in a coconut tree.
That's another thing. I don't know. I've heard that people can get injured having a coconut fall on their head. That thing hit me hard. I mean, for a couple of seconds, I was looking at everything was white. That's how hard it hit. And I was on the ground thinking, what is that? But I recovered from it. I guess I'm crazy. I've been hit on the head so many times that maybe that's why my whole mind is messed up. Maybe that's why I started on the carnivore diet.
Could be. Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy. Here's a good saying. Yeah, yeah. We're all only one bad decision away from getting better or getting worse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right, Jonathan. Yeah, yeah,
I know you saw his live today, and I like the setup that he's got, and he finally got an air conditioner. That's a secret weapon for good
yeah,
sleep and for a good live. When I put mine in, I was able to get back to my room. Before that, I had to go in the living room because that's where the other air conditioner is.
yeah. It helps in summer, especially. And in Florida, here it's always quite muggy and
Mm-hmm.
humid. So yeah, air conditioning is great. I love air conditioning. I mean, I love being outside. I love getting in nature and stuff like that as much as possible. I love getting the sun and things like that. But it's really nice to come inside with the air conditioning. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not so bad outside. You've always got a breeze or something going, but it's you come inside, there's nothing really coming in, no circulation. I think it's really important to have. Makes life a little bit easier anyway. Yeah. I have two young friends newly diagnosed with cancer. They won't give up the carbs and sugar. That's sad. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, what sort of yanks me a bit is that people like that, vegan, telling people that fat's the problem and that carbs how have a healthy life sort of thing, and just where there's absolutely zero nutrients in it. That's just dangerous stuff. And people and then they start talking about cancer. They have absolutely zero experience with cancer. You know, it's insane. And
I
people like
know
that shouldn't be allowed to speak like that.
cancer runs in my family, and I don't have it. Everyone in my family's had trouble with their eyes. Their
Yeah,
eyesight always seems to go out in their 40s. I'm going to be 57 next month. Well, June, and my eyesight's still the same as when I was in my 20s. So,
yeah.
where are the bad effects? If this carnivore diet is so bad, why what am I doing wrong? How am I still alive without eating a bunch of fruits and vegetables? It
Yeah,
just
exactly.
I want to see a study that can prove me or prove you or prove all of us wrong. It just doesn't exist. How do you argue with reality?
That's right. That's exactly right. You can't, like, real world cannot argue with these studies. Like these, oh, sorry, other way around, vice versa. Like these studies, they can't argue with real world results. And there's so many results. Like this, I don't think there's anything else out there that's got as many anecdotal stories of recovery and healing as the carnivore diet does right now. I don't think there's anything like that in history. So, and I mean, when people tell me it doesn't work, it's like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, I've got the before and afters, you know, what have you got? You know, so it's just they can't make any. Um, I mean, they can't put aside their bias long enough to say, well, shit, maybe there's something to it, you know, because they can't give up the carbs. They're just like, this has to be healthy because look at these bodybuilders or look at these young fit athletes, and they're all eating this crap too. So you know it's just, they're nuts. Yeah,
Well, that's another reason why I tried plant-based diet because I knew a lot of people in their 20s that they ate a lot of that stuff. They ate all kinds of carbohydrates and the pasta and the rice, and they all had a great physique. And there I was, skinny, like a toothpick, sickly looking according to them. But the thing is that now I know when I look at the same people that were in great shape back then, they look so different now.
Oh yeah.
They're old. One of them almost looks like he could be my dad. It's like, yeah, I never built the massive body. I never got, but the thing is, I mean, first of all, I'm taller than anybody else. So when I go in a crowd, everybody has to look up to me. And even though I'm skinny, I'm fast and strong. And
Mhm.
nobody that was in good shape in their 20s is still that way now. And I don't know
No.
what, because they get married. I guess, like you said, it takes so much effort to be able to maintain that physique. And once you get married and you have kids and you have a regular job, you just don't have that kind of time anymore. So it seems to me it would make more sense, instead of trying to overwork and try to burn up all that garbage that you're eating, it would be better to adjust the diet. Maybe
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to try and experiment and see. And I guess some of the younger guys are doing it. There's a few out there on the internet that they did have the bodybuilding diet. Now they're switching to the carnivore diet. If they can stay with the carnivore diet, it'll be interesting to see the way that they age when they get into their 40s or 50s or beyond, and see.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it'll be like Sean Baker. Now, Sean Baker, as he showed pictures of when he was out of shape, and he was looking like a typical, 40 something. And now
Yeah.
look at him.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's amazing. But then they
Yeah.
say, well, he must be on steroids. I mean, I don't know if he's on steroids or not, but steroids alone is not going to have that kind of improvement at that age. And I
No, that's right.
seriously doubt. I mean, I don't know if he used them before, but at this point, he just doesn't have that look.
I don't
And
think so. I mean, he's a heavy set guy. He's 6'5". He's big. If he was on steroids, he would be a lot bigger. I think the muscle mass that he has is very much fits to his frame. So I don't think he's on anything like that.
yeah,
So
it doesn't look like it. And the
no.
thing is, his attitude, the way that he acts, is typical of a carnivore. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen him get angry. If you ever watch the vegans, I've seen debates with Sean Baker, and he maintains a calm. He's a lot like me in a way, although I'm a little more animated because I like to make people laugh. But he doesn't get rattled. Some of the vegans out there, they'll get rattled very easily, and it
Oh
really
yeah.
is quite interesting to see. But being a carnivore, I mean, you can tell. Same thing with Dr. Chafee. Same carnivore mentality. You don't see him arguing. He makes his point, and then he lets the other side yell and get mad and make threats. And but yeah, it's at least now we have these people to look to. For years, I thought I was the only one, and
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's why I tried to go plant based. But when it failed me, I just said, forget it. I don't care anymore. If I die, I die. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
and that's really how it's been. But then the people say, well, carnivore doesn't work. I really doubt that most of these people you see on YouTube are lying. I can't see it. You look at the carnivore channels, you can look at Dave Mack's channel. That guy doesn't lie. Everything he says is true. And then
Yeah.
even the popular ones. I mean, who are the popular ones? I mean, obviously you have Dr. Barry, and he started out keto. I remember seeing him when he was keto. Now he's carnivore. And you have just there's a lot of these people out there, and they even show pictures. I mean, you have Kerry and Homestead How he says all the medications that he was on, and he's been to the doctor. I believe everything he says. I don't think he's lying. And his wife, she's gone carnivore, kids going carnivore. I believe these people. I mean, really, what motive do they have to lie? What are you going to sell people on the carnivore diet? Tell them to
Well,
buy meat? Come
mm,
on.
yeah, that's right. I mean, there's no incentive. I mean, even like YouTube restricts our channels, so there's no incentive to say, look, we're a carnivore diet or we only eat meat or anything like that. No one's sort of paying us to do this stuff. So I mean, if anything, I mean, if I said like yesterday, like or tomorrow, if I said, oh, I'm going vegetarian, I guarantee you, YouTube would pump that out pretty well. You know, if
Yeah,
it
I'm
fits the
giving up
narrative,
carnivore to go vegan.
yeah. Imagine how many views that would get. But yeah, I mean, on carnivore, it's like I literally watch the views go down, like in reverse. It's crazy. So this is I'm not sure if they took the jibby jabby, these young guys with cancer, but actually we did have Harry Sopanos was on the live with us on Friday night.
Yep.
Yeah, Kitchen Witch. So maybe check that out. Harry does. He's got a lot of great information on cancer as well. I've got quite a few videos and lives and stuff talking about this as well. But with Dr. Chafee and Bart Kay and others. So maybe check some of them out because there's some good information out there you can maybe help them with. Really happy even when things come up that used to get us down for hours, days, or we can move on quickly and be happier with life. It's beautiful. Yeah, I agree, Josephine. I think, there's just so many reasons why the carnivore diet, a high-fat diet, helps the brain, helps your emotional status, helps with everything else, that you just feel more comfortable and you can think about things more logically. So I think it's, it just shows the difference in, a diet devoid in these nutrients compared to the carnivore diet. Yeah, DC made a good mention about testosterone and Sean Baker in the live chat. Yeah, couldn't address it, but it's true. Yeah. What's flowing through your blood at any one time, it just doesn't mean that you have a low production of any sort of hormone. It's like D3, like it's a fat soluble, fat storable sort of hormone. So like when people get tested and like they might have been indoors for a day or two or beforehand, for example, and they come away thinking that their D3 is low, so they start taking a heap of supplements and it just makes it lower. It's just because it's not in your blood at that time doesn't mean that you're not producing those hormones. So people, people overreact to blood tests. And I can understand that if they're not used to having blood tests done and things like that. But I have seen though when people do change their diet, they think they're going to start measuring everything like for the first time in their life. They've never measured it before, but because they've gone carnivore, they're going to start measuring everything. Got to measure their ketones, got to measure this and that and everything else. Then they panic when their blood tests come back, a little bit irregular or different. It's crazy, but you get that. People are just people, I guess. All right, Terry. Just stopped in to see what condition your condition is in. Fair enough.
Remember that movie?
Oddly enough, when I was volunteering at the Sea Ward, the vegetarian man survived the longest low grade of Randall Sargle because of next 0 gram fat. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not going to say like this is going to help everyone. Like all I can say is, but without doubt, is that this has helped me. This has gotten me from that position to where I am now. So and it makes sense too. If you got good hormone production, then obviously you're going to have good body function. And organs and everything else working. So no, Sean's not on the gear. Hey Rick, what is it like eating carnivore all those years before it had a following? It's hard enough today with people telling me I'm crazy for eating this way. Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. But you have to realize, once you see the kind of person I am, I tend to be a bit rebellious, but I like to do it in ways that are not normal. So I'm not like the kid that was smoking and drinking and, wear long hair and all that. I went to like the 50s. I figured a kid in the 80s, you know, I'm going to do everything they did in the past. And with all the constant low fat and, well, they said, oh, what a great way to cut the fat. I remember it had some commercial. They had Snackwell cookies and oatmeal and bran muffins and all this crap. So what it came down to was, it's like, well, I'm doing it. I'm feeling good. And, you know, it didn't bother me. It wasn't until I got to be around 25. And then I thought, well, maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. It was my parents and other people I knew that convinced me to try to switch to a more plant-based diet. But in the end, I proved them wrong. And again, I didn't even know there was a carnivore community until like 2020, maybe 2019, 2020. Actually, it was a keto community I discovered first through the Butter Bob, you know, butter makes your pants fall off guy. And then after that, you know, Paul Saladino, and then Barry, you know, I do remember seeing Ken Barry back then when he was keto. So before 2020, I didn't even know. But you got to realize 83 to 93, I'm just having fun. I tried the plant-based diet, felt like crap. My life was terrible. Everything. I mean, I really didn't feel like doing anything. This is a funny thing. I had to force myself to get up in the morning to go to work. And I'd never had that before. You know, it's 8 o'clock or whatever, 7 o'clock, and you go, oh man, I don't want to go. It reminds me of when I was a kid in junior high and elementary school. I hated school. But then once I got away from that crap, then it's like, oh, I look forward to it. Can you imagine you get up in the morning, you have to eat oatmeal? I mean, oatmeal? Ugh. No wonder I didn't want to get up. But when I get up in the morning, I have steak or ground beef, eggs, you know, yogurt. I look forward to that because it smells good. It's easy. You know, it's like a light meal. To me, the oatmeal, the plants, they would weigh me down. I would eat that crap and then I would feel awful. You know, like for lunch, I'd have to have peanut butter sandwich or vegetables or fruit or whatever. And the stuff tastes bad. You eat it. And then after you eat, you just feel like, ugh, you know, and then you're hungry again. You eat all that plant crap and then you're hungry and then you don't want to eat because when you see what's in the refrigerator, you open the door and there's all those leaves and stems and fruits and all that stuff. You go, ugh. And then my dad with a juicer grinding up that stuff sounds like a mulcher, you know, where you're mulching your yard waste, grinding it up and the juice running out. It's bad. But the thing is, it wasn't an issue, you know, believe it or not, since I've had friends for years, they never really bothered me. Very few people ever challenged me. If I went somewhere, oh, would you like a donut? Would you like a croissant? No, I don't like it. Oh, okay. No big deal. If they had spaghetti and meatballs, I'd grab the meatballs. You know, I would just grab whatever meat I could find. Sometimes they have those little tiny sandwiches that have ham and cheese. I'd take out the ham and cheese and just give the bread to the ducks. You know, it really wasn't that bad. You know, people say they have all this peer pressure. I think once you're long term, it no longer matters. And my rule to this day is once you reach that 5-year mark, when you've been a carnivore for 5 years, I consider you to be like the long term. I think some other people say like stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But I always say once you've hit 5 years, you're not going back. In fact, I challenge anyone that's been carnivore for 5 years or more to go back to something else. I can't find anybody. I don't know if you've seen anyone on the internet, but I haven't.
No, I haven't seen anyone do that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And it takes it's not just a physical adaptation, it's a mental and emotional adaptation as well. And like giving up any addiction, you know, you look at alcoholics, like for the rest of their life, they still like they carry cards around to make, you know, just to remind themselves, you know. And you know, carbs are just the same. You know, I mean, it's really difficult. Like even now, like I still get tempted. You know, when I see like cakes or cookies or ice cream, especially. Like I know it's just duck food. It's toxic waste, really. But you still get those. Oh, geez, you know, I wouldn't mind trying that sort of thing, sort of feeling. You know, but that's just me.
Well, I'm the oddball. I may be the only person that you'll ever meet that hates that stuff because I've never liked it and I just hate it. Now, on the other hand, if you offer me some heart attack chicken and I know it was cooked in lard or tallow, or even if you give me a dead iguana that you just killed and you give it to me, I already start craving it. In fact, every time I see iguanas, it triggers the cravings. Same thing with ducks. I see the ducks over there at the canal wagging their tails, and I'm thinking about delicious deep fried duck. It's like when I go to the grocery store. I don't even know what's in the store. As soon as I open the door, I look around and I see in the back of the store it says meats. And my focus is right there. And I walk through the store. I never notice anything. I've been there with friends. Oh, did you know if this was on sale? I'm like, no, but you went to Winn-Dixie. Yeah, I went to the meat section. I didn't see anything on sale. Oh, well, this was on sale. I don't know. When I used to take care of my mother, she used to give me these long shopping lists, and I could never find anything. It was a struggle. Every time I had to go there, look for this, look for that. I'd spend a long time because to me, going to the store is a 10-minute trip. Basically, it takes longer to check out than it takes to shop. You walk in there, you look around. If I go to a party or picnic, I look at everything. When they have the snacks, I'm not even interested. I'll do something else. When the meat comes out, that's when I come in. And I think it just goes with the nature. You've been carnivore this long, you don't want anything else. I see everything else as inferior. Meat is the king's food. This is a slave's food. I'm not a
that's
slave.
exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Everything else is slave food. It gets you in that slave mentality, and it keeps you weak, meek, and small. It really does. Small-minded, small stature, everything. So the saddest thing is, when kids like through the developing years is so important for the rest of their life. When they're on like a vegan diet, and there's plenty of evidence out there to show you already that they are shorter than other kids. They have much more mental problems, much lower IQs than other kids as well. And that when they finish developing, if they haven't got meat in their diet or dairy or anything like that, seafood, they can't gain that back later in life. They have that low IQ for the rest of their life, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can improve the way they think or like the cognitive function a bit, like adding meat and stuff like that. But their IQ levels, generally speaking, they'll be like that, underdeveloped for the rest of their life. So it's really sad to see people like that raising kids, because you know what they're going to be like.
Hey, look, in my case, my grades went from a C average to an A average, and it happened the year after I went carnivore. So again, I've had people tell me, no, meat actually lowers your IQ. Oh, we have this study. Like, really? Well, then how come my grades went up? How come it seemed like I grew out of nowhere? I'm an example. I mean, you look at my old pictures, you look at me now, it's like, what happened? The only thing I changed was my diet. And then my attitude changed. I might have been shy at one time, but not anymore. I'm the person that now can get in front of people and talk to them. I can talk to anybody. Now, I don't talk much. If I go into a crowd, I stand back and I watch everybody and I observe what they do. And then I try to see who I can talk to. I just sort of target different people. And then I always find the people that are easy to get along with, at least for me. But some people don't do that at all. And then the other thing is, like you said, the poor vegans. I mean, you go to any party and you'll see they're usually the smaller kids. And they also tend to be feminized, the vegans that I've seen. Their eyes look different. Us carnivores, we tend to have sort of like this look. I don't know. Carnivores have a different look in their face than the vegans do. And I don't know if that's from all the meat or, the testosterone. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what mine is. But I know that
soy boys for nothing.
That's it. They call them soy boys. Some of them even have little breasts. You know, if you see
Yeah.
them without a shirt, they got the little breast things going. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Estrogen levels like are so high in the vegan diet, like was it phytoestrogen or I forget what it's called. But anyway, the estrogen levels just go off the chart for even men who on the vegan diets. They eat so much soy. Soy especially is feminizing, very feminizing. There was actually a few years back, Japanese study turned all male fish female to just feeding them soy pellets. You know, that's all they did, just fed them soy pellets, and they
That's
all turned
bad.
female. That's
That's
bad.
bad.
I mean, it's like, what's it doing? What's it doing to humans? And if you look at like Dr. Michaela Daniel, she talks about soy a lot. Actually, the stuff is toxic, absolutely toxic. It really
Well,
is.
didn't they traditionally ferment soy to make it edible?
Yeah, traditionally, well, originally, but like to make it usable for like tofu and stuff like that. But um, like in the West, though, it was traditionally used to line cardboard boxes to make them waterproof for shipping and stuff like that. And through in the 70s, there was a study done because they were concerned that 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 sort of waxy coating from the soy was actually getting into the food supply because it was carrying the boxes were carrying food, which were causing cancers and other things like that. So, and they that's actually one of the reasons why they stopped doing that with cardboard boxes. So instead of doing that now, they just use it for food, put it in the food supply. Now it's in absolutely almost every ultra processed food.
Well, you know,
It's
soy was also used to make ink when they used to make newspapers. That was a good,
right.
you know, and I use soy oil to make paint. You probably may have seen the video I made when I painted my payphones. I made
Yeah,
my own paint using soy because it oxidizes so well. I was trying to explain to one of my vegan friends. I said, "You can't make paint out of lard or tallow. It doesn't work. It won't oxidize like soy does."
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
think
an
about linseed oil was typically used for paints and window putty. And
yeah,
like if you needed to glaze your glass, they would take the linseed oil and they would mix it with basically chalk or lime, and then they make a putty. Well, in order to make the linseed oil dry, not only do they crush the seeds, but they would boil it. So all paint was made with a boiled linseed oil. And why would they boil the linseed oil? Well, because by doing that, that destabilizes the fats and then they can oxidize better. So if you think about it, you go to any restaurant, what do they cook with? They cook with soy oil. And what do they
yeah,
do with it? They heat it up to deep fry. So
yeah.
you're destabilizing that. And then you're
Repeatedly.
putting, yeah, yeah. And then you're putting it in the food. So you're putting
Yeah.
oxidized oil into your food. How can that be healthy?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And then like it's not just a one-off thing. They dump the oil after they cook each one either. It's like repeatedly they use it for months. And then they sell it
Mm-hmm.
to another low-grade restaurant. They just filter it and use it again. It's
That's
insane.
right. But they
Yeah.
say, well, you know, people have used oil for thousands of years. They used olive oil. They would take the olives and they would press them. They didn't cook with it generally. They would put it, they would make sauces and put it on their salad or whatever. And that's not
Yeah,
as
but
bad because,
even that's more recent. I mean, before that was always lard,
yeah.
and tallow and stuff like that for hundreds of millions of years, you know. So
Well, tallow, lard and tallow, I used to make soap and
mm,
I brush my teeth with it. I mean, think about it. I'm the only one that uses baking soda and lard to brush my teeth, and they're still quite solid. I mean, they're
mm,
cracked when I was a kid, and I have two cavities from when I was younger, but I haven't been to a dentist since 1986, and I don't think I have any cavities. I mean, they don't hurt. I would think that if I had cavities, my teeth would hurt. They're not dirty. I don't get the plaque or any of the other stuff on my teeth. And they
yeah,
say, well, you know, Rick's teeth are crooked. Yeah, because I grew up before the carnivore diet. They came in crooked on the bottom, but the top ones were developing. And that's when I was on the carnivore diet. So those are straighter than the bottom ones. The bottom ones are crooked because they came in first. Always the
yeah,
bottom teeth come in, then the top. And I switched when I was 15 years old. I mean, I think out of all the people out there, I'm probably the best living example of what just the carnivore diet did because I don't have any extensive workouts. I haven't been to a doctor since what, 96. I mean, I've never been hospitalized. I broke my arm once. I don't have any surgery. So I'm an example of someone who's been on the carnivore diet for decades, and I'm still here. And this
Yeah,
is what really I get frustrated, because when people tell me that I look terrible and I'm not healthy or whatever, they're just projecting. I think they
exactly.
themselves are unhealthy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. They're just projecting. And it just the only stupid comment they can think of to come up with, "Oh, you look bad. You look like this," or "Why is your skin look like?" They're just retarded. Um, but like bone health, even like after years of chemotherapy, like your bone marrow is ability to produce blood cells is really severely diminished. Right. I had some teeth rot because of chemotherapy. Because I mean, it was the cancer was in my bone marrow and everything like that, but it was the chemotherapy that really started eating away the bone tissue in my jaw and my teeth. So I've had 3 teeth removed, but before that I still had my wisdom teeth. I've still got 2 of them up the top, but since going carnivore, though, I haven't had any problems with my teeth. In fact, they're actually healthier, much healthier than what they were beforehand. So
That's
I haven't had any trouble with my teeth ever, like since. So it's
Yeah.
been good.
And that's the other thing. They told me that when they wanted to put braces in my mouth, and as a kid, I thought it was a bad idea because they wanted to pull the wisdom teeth out. I'm thinking, why would I want to lose teeth? I mean, I only have so many teeth. And the thing is, when they grew in, the bottom ones grew in just a little sideways, but the top ones grew in perfect. So,
Yeah,
and I had no idea. Well, not until I saw the internet. You had that guy Kevin Stock or whatever that's in really good shape. He's a dentist. Some other
yeah,
person,
it's really good. Mm,
they were
yeah,
talking about that, and I had no idea. If I would have known that as a kid, I may have straight teeth on the bottom like I do on the top. It just my dad was so much into the health food. He was
yeah,
convinced. And I look at pictures of my dad when he was my age. I mean, he still looked pretty good, but he definitely had more body fat than I do. Mine is around 14%. I'm not I'm not a model or anything, but I have about 14%, which is not bad for someone who's
57
56.
years old. You're doing good. It
Yeah,
doesn't work out. Yeah,
right. It doesn't work out. I think that's pretty good. And
yeah,
zero chronic pain, lots of energy. I sleep perfectly. My dad used to snore like a chainsaw. I don't snore. I mean,
yeah.
really, my dad would go to
Well,
the
it's all due
bathroom.
to inflammation, isn't it? So it's snoring and things like that.
His face was more expanded. Mine is long like that. And then they were criticizing, well, all the carnivores have that long, skinny face. Well, I think that's the way we're supposed to be. I don't think,
Yeah,
people today, they have this under their neck is all big. It's like they go like this and it sticks out.
like a
And I
turkey
think
neck.
that looks terrible. And they go for plastic surgery to take that off. Said,
Yeah,
if you ate the carnivore diet, you may not even have that in the first place.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, turkey necks. I was going to read this comment. The debate with Bart was great. Yeah, but I mean, this is the thing. Like people keep saying, like, "Oh, Bart didn't show any proof." Don't show. It's a debate. You don't. It's not a presentation. You don't show up with a heap of, you know, studies and all this other stuff. You know, you just it's a back and forth of whoever said what and then like debunk it sort of thing. But the thing is, like, she rambled on a lot and honestly just made shit up. It's just crap. It's absolute nonsense. So like someone like giving someone like that giving health advice is dangerous. Anyway, that said, I think the best part of the debate was when she engaged you in conversation. I would like to see more of that. Well,
Yeah.
thanks very much. Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
argue with results.
No, that's right. I mean, like I said, I mean, they keep telling me it doesn't work, but seriously, you know, yeah, I'm not in bed. I'm not, I'm still here. Much longer than they told me I would be.
That's right.
Yeah. Told me I don't even have like 3 months. So, I have quite a high-pitched voice. Does voice pitch correlate with testosterone low level? No, not necessarily. If it can be, but there'd be a reason why you have low testosterone levels as well. You know, it could be a testicular thing. It could be a hormonal thing. It could be other things as well. So, I mean, there's a number of things involved in it. I mean, just it might be something that you can change later on. Depends on how old you are, what diet you're on through your developing years, and so on and so on and so on. So it's not like if you start taking like hormone replacement therapy or anything like that, that's not going to improve it. It's probably something that's it's just your body just has you're stuck with a higher pitched voice. And I mean, how bad can it be? I mean, if you look at Greg Doucette, I mean, he sounds like Mickey Mouse with no testicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Mickey Mouse actually sounds like a more manly version of Greg Doucette. You know. So,
I can't even go that high. That's the funny thing.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Like your testosterone level is going to be, I mean, as long as your diet is fine and you're producing the right hormones, your testosterone level is going to be whatever it's going to be at any given time. It's producing cholesterol. It needs other, like D3 is a pre-hormone, for example. If you're producing more D3, you'll produce more testosterone. Okay, so get out in the sun more, eat lots of fat, and that's another natural way you can produce more testosterone. Other ways that you can do this as well, there are things like lifting. Heavy resistance work does help in producing these hormones as well. Breath work is another thing. Low oxygen tension will give you will stimulate your kidneys to produce more EPO, and that stimulates your bone marrow to produce more blood cells, and this will get things moving a bit more. So, I mean, there are things you can do naturally to increase testosterone. In fact, I do have a video. I've got a couple of videos actually on testosterone. If you go check out my channel, you can check out natural ways to increase testosterone. We're talking with Bart K and another video as well. Actually, I'm going to do another one of these on testosterone and these as well, actually, I think soon. So, yeah, it could be related to that, but I don't think so. I mean, there's other things that it could be associated with as well. I know I was allergic to soy before keto. Now I know I'm allergic to the legumes. Peanut butter also gets me. Yeah. Like no one has a real. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone having a real meat allergy before. Like some seafood, yes, not red meat, but legumes, yeah, they can be deadly. They can be very deadly. And they do have quite an extensive effect on your hormone production. They will help. They will feminize men. You produce more estrogen. So peanut butter. Stay away. I mean, apart from everything else that's in peanut butter, like the sugar and all the other crap that's the seed oils as well.
Oil.
Yeah, soybean oil and other stuff. Even without all that crap, it's still not good. Not even remotely. Tanya, where's that? Is that a sad comment up here? I can't see another comment on cancer there. So, Tanya, that's so sad. I had two friends who were both 57 who died recently of cancer. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Peter. They were both addicted to sugar and carbs too. Yeah, one was diabetic. If you have a look at my interview with You see, the Australian doctor, I can't think of his name, but we're talking about diabetes being a precursor to many other, chronic disease. If you take it back to most of these diseases, like cancer, okay, and lymphomas and other things like that, are pretty much like diabetes type 5 sort of thing. Like Dr. Chafee says that as well. It's these chronically elevated blood glucose levels are what lead to chronic disease. Okay. Unlike, it's these retards who keep telling, like, it's just glucose intolerance is what these vegans say. It's just absolutely insane. These people are a Darwin Award. You ever see that movie, the Darwin Awards?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you should see that. There's a movie called the Darwin Awards, and it's about these people who died doing ridiculously stupid things. And so you just call them, they're Darwin Award. So diabetes. Actually, that was part of the trailer for this live today. Was part of that trailer. So that video. So go check it out. Very important. Jack LaLanne was one of those old health food nuts. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad always looked to him.
He was very fit. He was always very fit. But he did eat. I mean, that juice diet stuff is just. That's just nonsense.
Yeah, and that other guy used to advertise at Jay Cordich. I still have the juicers my dad had. That was a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was one of the original sort of, but like there's there's always been, I suppose, I don't know, the last few hundred years, fitness has been there's always been these influences, I guess, at a much lower level to today, obviously, but they didn't have social media back then, did they? I find the best debates between carnivores and vegans are civil and calm. One's not like a bunch of yelling and screaming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own style, and I guess when someone starts rambling on and starts talking over you, it gets your back hairs up a bit. My testosterone went from barely 200 before carnivore, and now 650 plus. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. See, like, this is the thing too, and yeah, Peter, he says he's 63. Like,
Girlfriend's in danger.
yeah. Like, even at 63, you can increase your testosterone levels with the right food, and I know people say it's more difficult. It is more difficult to put on muscle as you get older, but you have to think about, like, from where I was before. I had, after chemotherapy, producing much less blood cells than most people, because of bone marrow problems, because of chemotherapy and that sort of stuff. But I'm still putting on muscle mass, okay, and I'm 52. So I've got all these things working against me, but you can still do it. You can still do it. Just because you're you may be at a low level now, or things may be not going so well, it doesn't mean you can't change that. I don't have 14% body fat, but I'm working on it. That's good. Yeah, stay off the duck food and you'll be right. My list of things that carnivore has cured is well over 30 health conditions and overall, improvements. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Great. Rick and DC, two of my all-time favorite carnivores. Thanks, Peter. I really appreciate that. No, it's saturated, but yeah. Yeah, it's a killer. It's a killer.
Oh, get you every time.
Yeah. I wonder if the reason the mainstream pushes plants and low fat is because they know so many people can't quit their sugar addictions. Double
It's a
it.
moneymaker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a slave keeper as well. You know.
Yeah.
They don't want you healthy. They want you addicted to medications as well. Yeah. So there's a number of reasons why they push the plant-based diet and low-fat diets and things like that. They don't want you healthy. There's no way. They want return customers. They want to keep you drugged up until the day you die.
Yeah.
From the day you're born, pretty much from the day you were born, they start jabbing you. Okay. Until the day you die.
You realize how much money they've lost on me over all these decades?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Millions.
No
Millions.
medical care.
Yeah. I still have my NutriBullet blender that I used to use for making smoothies and juicing. What a moron I was. Yeah, I know. I gotta, it's embarrassing, honestly, when I think back on my diet from, I mean, it started when I was a kid. Like my mum, she was always into the healthy way of eating as well. So we were on and off vegetarian, vegan, and that sort of stuff as well, because she thought it was healthy. But it's embarrassing, but it's just the way that the information came to us at the time. Like the textbooks are wrong, the education is wrong. I mean, and it's geared that way. Like it's deliberately wrong. And you think about nutritional science, if, like Bart Kay says, if you think that there's actually such a thing as nutritional science, you've been fooled. These so-called nutritional sciences like dietetics and nutrition and things like that, these things were started by corporations like Kellogg's. So of course the education is going to educate people to follow the plant-based diet because that's what they believe. It's an ideology-fed so-called study, I guess. That there's nothing you can't get around that at the moment. Question 42. 42 years old male, I guess. Yeah, 6'2", 210 pounds. Been on carnivore close to 1 year. Has been great, but since day 10, have been experiencing zero libido and brain fog. Have tried upping fat, electrolytes, etc. Any advice? Okay. All right. So, all right. There must be something you're doing wrong then. What I mean, I can't. I mean, with that, it's not really enough information there to say. I think okay. Generally speaking, stay away from the dairy. If you're 42 years old, you don't need to. You're not developing, right, or growing. All right. Stay away from the dairy. Like, add seafood. Add more seafood. Add depends. Without knowing what your diet is like, you might need a bit more variety of fats. For example, DHA and omega-3s are really high, much higher in lamb, for example. Like you get 10 times more omega-3s in lamb than you do beef, and you get more from seafood. Okay, so things that might help with brain fog is choline. Choline helps with acetylcholine A in the brain, which really switches on the brain a lot. Things that are high in choline, eggs, oysters, red meat, lamb, things like that. I've actually got a few videos on this. You can check out the choline videos, taurine videos, leucine videos, and more. So you can check those out, why they really help with cognitive function and other things. They're only short videos too. There's not a big time commitment. Okay, they're just specifically on those amino acids and other things. So give that a try. Mix up your fats, stay away from dairy, and make sure you're getting choline, taurine, leucine, and a few others that you can check out on my channel. Okay, that will help. I eat a lot of tinned fish, so you think one should only eat it moderately due to heavy metals like arsenic and or mercury? Okay, I think this is another thing. This is another lie, like the arsenic and mercury content in seafood. It hasn't done the Japanese any harm, right? They eat fish all damn day long, right? I think it's just another one of those things that's sort of set out there to scare us from eating meat, and seafood. But tin fish is, I think you should avoid, because the tins, okay, usually the aluminium, they usually come in like a different type of oil. If you can get it in water or the fish oil, that's fine. But they're also lined with plastic. So you're getting a lot of these PFAs, okay? There's PFAs and things like that. So maybe avoid that. Fresh fish is always going to be much better, okay?
The biggest problem with the cans is that in order to sterilize them, they have to be heated up. And the plastic liner does get into the food. If it was cold all the time, it probably wouldn't be an issue, but they do heat them up.
And not only that, like like you said, if they were cold all the time, probably wouldn't be an issue. But they sit out in outside in warehouses for God knows how long, months at a time. Sometimes out in the sun, so they're not. They're usually quite hot or stored. They're not stored in refrigerators or anything like that. Same with bottled water. Another reason to stay away from that stuff. Told my hubby about Rick cleaning and cooking iguana. Yeah, he's on a mission to try it. He loves frog's legs and crocodile tails. So, well, he probably enjoy the iguana there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could be that you're just not eating enough food too. Actually, if you go back to that question, Cyrus, another thing to check is, are you eating enough food? A lot of people, when they come to the carnivore diet, they keep their portions like the same size as what they would if they had a full meal of other things, So make sure you're eating enough as well. I saw a Joe Rogan clip where his doctor said he has arsenic toxicity in his blood because he eats 3 cans of sardines a day. Well, the arsenic could be, or the arsenic toxicity could be from the plastic lining and the tins and stuff like that, not from the actual fish. So, like we said, the plastics that these are stored in, that does get into the food. It's not because they're fish and they're caught in the ocean. It's got nothing to do with the ocean. You get it fresh, you get much healthier. And not farmed fish either. Farmed fish is, again, like monogastric animals. Whatever they eat will come out in their flesh. Okay, so that includes chickens and eggs and fish. All right, so if they are fed like farmed fish are always fed on soy pellets and stuff like that, so it will come out in the flesh. All right, and their omega-3s will be much lower because they're not eating other fish. The reason why fish, one of the reasons they get such high omega-3s is because the plant-eating fish get it from the plants and photosynthesis and all that sort of stuff, and the fish that eat them get it from them, and so on and so on, and they upscale it to us so that when we eat those fish, we get those omega-3s as well. So, so there's a reason why tin fish is just not that good, and farmed fish as well. I'm not sure they thought it was healthy. They were indoctrinated to believe it was by news and medical systems. Yeah. News, medical systems, education, propaganda. You look at the TV shows, right? Like I remember, like I was watching old episode of Jetsons just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And George comes out for breakfast. They cut up like these little square pellets, right? And he says, "Hold the eggs, Rosemary." Right? So she cut this little square in half and said, "You're watching your cholesterol, are you, Mister J?" That little bit of propaganda is in everything, so that is reinforcement as we grow up, and we're watching the Jetsons, we're watching these cartoons, we're watching TV shows, we're watching and we're hearing it from school, we're getting it from everywhere, absolutely everywhere. It's reinforcing their BS. You repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth because people believe it. Ratio is not the most important. The actual mass of each macro is. You can be 80% fat but still undereat. Yeah, that's true. If you only eat a pound of meat a day, for example, you'll probably need eat more in general. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people are very much under eating on the carnivore diet. Saladino had the same problem until he added fruits. Yeah, Saladino's an idiot. Saladino was eating a crap load of liver and taking liver pills on top of that. So of course he had problems with electrolytes and things like that. And now he says that you can get electrolytes from fruit. Well, that's exactly the opposite of what happens actually in your liver. Like fructose actually depletes ATP, for example, so it actually makes you lower in energy, but it also inhibits the uptake of electrolytes. It inhibits calcium and magnesium and other electrolytes. So it's like working exactly opposite to what he says it is. The guy's an idiot. He's a sugar addict, and he's trying to justify it. And things like honey is 42% fructose, even a good clean honey. So anyway, yeah, who would eat 3 tins of sardines a day? Yeah, well, somebody told me it was healthy, I guess. He tried it. Where do you both stand when it comes to the more hardcore carnivores? The people that say raw meat is the only way to go. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I haven't had a lot of raw meat because I don't trust it because I, didn't kill it myself. I can eat it. It doesn't bother me. I like it, but I just don't think it's safe. But I've eaten mostly cooked meat and I'm still here, so I don't think it really makes much of a difference, at least in my case.
No, I don't. It doesn't make. I don't think it makes that big a difference, depending on what you're after as well. Taurine, for example, an amino acid that is really important in every process of the body. Time, yeah, I mean, Time Magazine, they'll do the same thing. Like it'll be like next month, it'll be cholesterol is good all of a sudden.
Oh, they did that later. That's right.
Yeah. So it's all the same, isn't it? But taurine, for example, is much higher in raw meat, and so if you do cook it, try to keep it as rare as you can. But again, if you do eat raw meat, I think it's going to depend. You don't want it to be handled too much. It depends on so the fresher the better, and the less handling by other people the better. Yeah, eggs are back on the menu, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the next year would be the same. It'd be eggs are back off the menu, sort of thing. Yeah, it's just so much bullshit. It really is.
Oh, the problem with studies, and I recognized this a long time ago, the results you see depends on who paid for it. If somebody paid to get certain results and they didn't get what they wanted, it went right in the garbage. But when they found something that fit their agenda, then they publish it. That's the way it always is.
It's all about numbers, and numbers are very easily manipulated.
Uh-huh.
Very easily. I don't care. I got friends that do eat raw, like George. He eats 3 raw steaks every day, right? That's fine. I mean, I don't think this, but again, it has to be really fresh, and you have to be. I mean, the less people handle it, the better, the safer it's going to be. But for things like taurine, leucine, all your amino acids, they are better or in higher quantities in the less you cook it. All right, but I don't think that makes that big a difference. I mean, I'm still here, and most of my meat is usually cooked pretty well. So, I mean, more recently, I kind of like it rare, but for the last 9 years or so, it's always been pretty well done, actually. So I don't think it makes
Not
that big a difference.
well done is not an option for me. I don't understand how anybody can eat that
Well, for
stuff.
me, not. I mean, not like cooked dry sort of thing, but not bleeding. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But nowadays, I don't mind having it pretty rare, actually. So
It comes with time. Trust me.
yeah, that's right. I mean, the longer you do it, the rarer you sort of you can sort of handle it. So, and I do like bone marrow. I like that, like lightly cooked, but then I'll let it cool down and get cold, so it's kind of solid, because I don't like the texture when it's hot. The texture is kind of like jelly. Yeah, I don't like that too much. But bone marrow is really good. It's great for collagen and things like, which is also great for your bones and stuff. Um, I share a can of sardines a day with my cocker spaniel. We love them. It's very good. Yeah. Or they get via ships crossing the oceans and that's at a time. Yeah, that's right. That's true. That's true too. Like these tin fish and everything, actually, even fruits and vegetables, everything just gets shipped months and months at a time across different oceans and so on. Not in refrigerators. Okay. Yeah, brain fog guy again. Eat 4 to 5 eggs, 2 pounds of beef, a ribeye brisket, 80-20 ground beef, like 100 grams or 150 grams of tallow, grass-fed and finished. Well, that sounds pretty good. 1 hour of sunlight a day. OMAD. Okay. I mean, that's a fair amount, I guess, but you're 210 pounds. 2 pounds of beef is less than a kilo. Yeah, I think you're under eating. You don't. I think that's what the problem is. You're under eating, but you don't have to do it in one meal. Right? If you need to eat four meals in a day, that's fine. All right, there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
This is
Look at how many meals I eat in a day. I eat 3 meals a day. I eat between
yeah,
3 to 6 pounds of meat every single day.
yeah. I eat at least 2. So if I do have my hungry days where I'll eat 3, sometimes 4. So it just depends. Um, I think you drastically, for 210 pounds, you're drastically under eating. So like I eat up to 10 eggs in a day. So, and I'm 195 pounds at the moment. So, eat more eggs, eat more beef, and I think your ratio, your macros seem to be pretty good, but just eat more. Okay, and I think this is a big problem. A lot of people they see some of these other carnivores doing OMAD. They think they have to do just 1 meal a day. That's silly. Okay, you don't try and force yourself to stick to 1 meal, and don't try and force all of your meals into 1 meal where you end up just completely stuffed, sort of thing. 2 or 3 meals a day, and you'll be golden. Okay, so for you, try double that. Okay, if you can. All right. If not, that's fine too. But just eat more meals throughout the day, and you will feel much better. I guarantee it. Did I hear you say D3 can reduce? Yeah, well, it's D3 is like a pre-hormone. It's like it is a hormone, okay, and we have many uses for it in the body, like part of our immune system, our sunscreen, and everything like that. But it's also a pre-hormone for other hormones. So when you're producing more D3, you will produce more testosterone because it's made in the same place. It's made from the liver, producing more cholesterol or more lipids to circulate that into your blood system and everything else. Okay. It's fat soluble or fat storable as well. So the same as if you haven't been out in the sun so much, right, you're going to have more D3 and testosterone actually stored in your fat cells than in your blood, than actually going circulating in your blood. So if you get outside, do some more activity outside in the sun, okay, that will stimulate those hormones to flow more in your blood system, okay, and then get your blood test done, and you will find that actually those levels will increase. And don't wash like till like several hours, like 5 or 6 hours. Don't go out in the sun and then come inside and have a shower, sort of thing, because the longer you leave it on your skin, okay, the D3, then the more it will be absorbed into through your skin and into your blood, and your levels will remain higher. Okay, so it's really good for your immune system, really good for your testosterone production as well, including growth factors, and because it all comes from the liver and stuff like that as well. Okay, so yes, get outside more, and the sun is your friend. We are built to, like, we get energy from grounding, okay, and from the sun, and from from mass from food. All right, these are 3 sources of energy we get. All right, they all contribute. Yeah, maybe had 2 meals a day. Yeah, try at least 2. So yeah, if you need 3 or 4, that's fine too. Yeah. 6'3", 200 pounds, 2 to 3 meals a day, similar MT. Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. Hit that like button. Thank you, everyone. Please do, give a like, share, and subscribe. Both our channels. It really helps to get the message out, helps the algorithm and everything else like that, and helps us to survive. Okay, so we can keep doing more informative videos for you. Okay. So, what do you think about too much vitamin A from liver? Well, that's one reason to. I mean, generally speaking, okay, unless you have some sort of deficiency, liver, like organ meats, basically they're dog food. Okay, dogs and cats, for example, they have been carnivore for like 10 million years compared to our 5 million years. All right, so they can actually handle more like high protein and nutrient dense sort of organ meats and things like that better than we can. That's why, if you have a look at actually an interview with Amber O'Hearn, she explains this very well. This is why we still need a high fat diet from babies all the way up to, when we, fall off the perch. Basically, we don't need to eat organ meats. We get all that we need from the fat and muscle meat. Small portions every now and then. I mean, sure, like a vitamin shot, like taking a multivitamin sort of thing. That's fine. But there are other things. It's not just vitamin A toxicity. It's also copper. Copper toxicity is a very real thing from the liver. Okay, so yeah, just don't eat. If you like it, that's fine. But I mean, just don't eat too much of it. All right. And Dr. Boz had a patient eat nothing but sardines for over 3 months. Wow. She tested her and no arsenic. Yeah. So again, I think it really comes with more from the packaging, the tin, the plastic lining, and everything like that, than rather than the fish itself. Yeah. Yeah, conversation. Raw meats raw meats have to be handled correctly to minimize the bacteria in it. Yeah, exactly. The less handling, the better. Yeah, raw meat is very popular in Japan. Like I lived in Japan for 10 years, and they'll eat raw beef, raw fish. Obviously, everyone knows, but also raw horse meat. Okay, um, raw horse meat is actually very popular in France as well. That was made popular by their army surgeon during the siege of Alexandria, when the French troops were surrounded and they couldn't get food, and they were eating just biscuits a lot. They started getting scurvy, and the military doctor put them on a horse meat only diet, because they had the horses there still, and to cure the scurvy, because it's quite high in vitamin C. And in fact, before citrus, the British Navy used to, because, and the same during the Civil War, all they had to eat were like dry biscuits and stuff like that, so they would get scurvy. So Dr. Salisbury, during the Civil War, he put them, when the soldiers came in from just eating biscuits all the time, and they had scurvy, he put them on an all meat diet, and that's what made Salisbury steak popular. And same thing happened with the British Navy before citrus. They would only eat biscuits, and then they'd come ashore and then just hog down on meat to cure their scurvy as well. I did a raw meat diet for 2 years. You can eat it. The bacteria thing is basically a myth. I think, yeah. Again, it just depends on. I think it has to be fresh, and you just have to. The less people that handle it, the better. You don't want to take any chances, Yeah. I mean, someone as strong as Rick probably wouldn't matter. I mean,
I've never
mystery
had
meat.
food poisoning.
Yeah, mystery meat Rick.
Dumpster meat, canal meat, whatever I can get. You'd be surprised at the stuff I've eaten out of a dumpster.
Yeah. What do you guys think of coconut oil as a complement of the diet? I used to use coconut oil back in the day, but again, coconut's a seed, and it does oxidize at a much lower temperature than tallow. So I don't use it anymore. I think tallow is the best. I think tallow is the best thing to cook with, and for many other things as well. I make tallow. I buy fat from the butcher, and I make my own tallow, and whatever's left, I just eat like snacks. Like people used to, you eat deep fried chips sort of thing. Just deep fried pieces of fat, absolutely delicious. Bit of salt, perfect. So I don't think anything is better than either lard or tallow for whatever you use in the coconut oil for.
Mm-hmm.
Coconut oil, I mean, I don't know, maybe I know it's good for hair. Some people use it like cold, just raw, and they use it in their hair, and they use it to brush their teeth. You can use it like that, So, but nothing to do with food. I wouldn't consume it. I certainly would cook with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think, Rick?
Well, I mean, I have coconut trees, and I used to use coconut oil in my soap. I mean, I still add it to soap occasionally if you want to get that good coconut smell. I have no reason to eat it, because with the lard and tallow, I mean, it works so much better. The coconut oil would burn if you tried to deep fry with it. You can't really do it. I mean, you could pan fry with it, but what's the point? What I did when my mother was alive, I used to make her popcorn, and sometimes I would use the coconut oil, but then I got lazy and I figured, well, lard will probably work. And guess what? It worked really well. So what you do when you make the popcorn, you get the lard to pop the corn, and then I would add butter in there. My mom liked popcorn, but she was eating that horrible microwave crap, which I absolutely hated, because it would burn all the time. No matter what you do, part of it would burn. It smelled like chemicals. And I mean, I don't eat popcorn because I'm not crazy about it. I can eat about one handful of it and I'm bored with it. I don't want any more. But make my mom popcorn, I'd eat a little bit of it. So she realized, because I think sometimes if I didn't eat a little bit of the food, she'd kind of get paranoid, maybe that there was something in it. She swore I was trying to give her a bunch of meat. I think because I played the game. I used to make her mini heart attack burgers, but she wanted the meat real small. And that was the problem. Was I had to load it with vegetables, and I got rid of the ketchup. I started using fermented tomatoes. I also use coconut oil, for some of her salads and stuff. I made a coconut oil mayonnaise, but for me, I don't use it as a food product. I do add it to soap occasionally. In fact,
I think that's a good idea.
yeah, the soap that I use, see, I tend to smell like meat, like raw ground beef, because I use so much beef tallow on my hair and skin and all that. So when I make soap, sometimes I'll add the coconut oil to it, and that gives it that coconut smell. Plus, I'll add other flowers. There's different jasmine and stuff like that. I'll put that in there to make it smell different. And they say, "Oh, that's nice." I've had people, I give them some homemade soap, and they're like, "Oh, that's really good." I said, "Yeah, it's all natural ingredients, because my soap, it just smells like beef tallow." Now, I like the smell of beef tallow. It makes me hungry. But I think most people, they probably don't. When they see me eating lard, people will get physically sick. They'll go, "What are you doing?" I say, "Oh, I'm having some lard." "Oh, that's awful." Of course, I was a kid that liked cod liver oil growing up. But yeah, coconut oil, I wouldn't eat it, you know. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very useful. I think, but not cooking with it. Cooking with it just oxidizes it really quickly, and like
Yeah.
mixing it with tallow for soap. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And the coconut oil is very easy to extract. It's not tied up like soybeans where you have to use solvents. You just basically scoop out the coconut meat, heat it up a little bit, and then when the water comes off, you put it in the refrigerator. Next day, the coconut oil floats to the top, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And look at what Ansel Keys did to. He picked what showed to back his thought. Yeah, and led everyone down a sad road. Yeah, exactly. Um, like people, talk about like what's happened in the last few years. These different people like Fauci and that these mass killers and serial killers and so on. The food industry, has killed more people than anything throughout history, more than any wars or anything else throughout our entire history. The food industry has killed more people than anything. Absolutely, just huge crimes against humanity. I first saw Rick on No Carb Life. Really appreciate your relaxed attitude, man. Yeah, saw DC first on Bart's channel. Same thing. Thanks, man. Really
That's
appreciate
great.
it, guys. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I didn't know too many people watch me.
Yeah, me too. Because you can eat raw meat doesn't mean you should. Yeah, is what I mean. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean you don't have to. Don't you? I mean, there's nothing saying that you have to eat it raw, sort of thing. But of course, idiot vegans will think, oh, if you don't have sharp teeth and claws and ripping into the animal while it's still alive, then you're not carnivore. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we have the bigger brains. We use tools, morons. But anyway, coconut oil is okay, but it's from plants. Better choice if you get tallow, lard, butter. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you can use coconut oil for other things, just not cooking. Just I don't think you should be eating it anyway. So, anyone notice carnivore diet makes you more calm? Yeah, we were talking about that before, actually. Yeah, certainly more relaxed, and just things aren't so serious. Really.
That's a good description right there.
Yeah, it turns you into a rebel entrepreneur. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, like, I'm not too big on getting into these arguments about food. You know, food is it's such a small thing, really. You know, I've been dead before, and everything else doesn't really matter that much. You know, honestly, I don't care. I just don't care. I've been listening to Rick and have hoped from 2 to 3 meals. Hoped maybe 2 to 3 meals a day, and I haven't gained a pound. Yeah, exactly.
See?
Yeah. So it's not about you don't have to starve yourself, or like just to eat once a day sort of thing. Yeah, the carnivore diet is also a fasting mimicking diet. Okay, so you can eat 4 or 5 times if you need to. Right.
Yep. And the best thing, a regular fasting raises your cortisol. If you eat all the time, it doesn't raise your cortisol. And if it's fasting mimicking, you're getting the same benefits. So why torture yourself when you don't have to?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, if you're not hungry, don't eat. That's fine. If you're hungry, eat. It's not that big a deal. Rick, you eat 5+ pounds of meat a day, and you're still extremely skinny. If you decide to bulk up to get stronger, what would you do? Eat double? What are you eating?
Well, the first thing I would do, I would consult Jonathan. That'd be the first thing I do. But basically, it comes down to a resistance training program. I'm never going to gain any kind of muscle if I don't do a structured resistance training program. And then I'll adjust my diet as necessary. I probably will have to eat more. But, that's the main thing.
I would suggest if you're going to bulk, if you want to bulk up, okay, like eggs, easy to eat. So like if you're already eating like the most meat you can eat, all right, eggs are like an excellent source of protein that will that will get into their cells faster than meat will. Okay, so there's that. Now mTOR is another thing. If you can stimulate your mTOR more throughout the day, you will build muscle quicker. All right. So, for example, if you did a fasted workout, say 7 o'clock in the morning, went to the gym and did the damage. All right. Did the high intensity workout, and then didn't eat until like maybe 4 hours afterwards. So like when you've hit the gym fasted, you're going to raise mTOR levels. Okay, so that's one spike. And then 4 hours later, you eat. Okay, that's another mTOR spike. And maybe 3 meals before you go to bed, like say every 4 hours. Then after that, then you will have, like say 4 mTOR spikes in the day, and that will actually put muscle on really quick. Okay, so that's what you would do to bulk up and put more muscle on. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Something you can add, you can add supplement. You can supplement more taurine, which helps build muscle. Okay, more creatine, and a few other things, but you also get that in meat, and from if you're eating enough meat, then you don't really need to put on or take that many supplements. Okay.
And my experience is the supplements are also disgusting. They flavor them to be
Yeah,
nasty. I don't know
that's
why
the
they
that's
do
the
that.
problem. Like usually, like if you're going to get a creatine supplement, for example, the monohydrate is the cheapest one, is the best one. Everything else, you don't need the micronized. You don't need anything that's flavored or colored or anything like that. You want to stay away from that crap. Honestly, I am very much on the fence when it comes to any kind of supplement, because I don't think that anything, especially protein powders and crap like that, because they're all flavored. They all have different like levels of seed oils, and they all have colorings and stuff like that as well. They've never proven anything. I've never seen anything that actually prove that they put on muscle. They can make you retain fat, okay, because of artificial flavorings, artificial sweeteners, and everything like that. But yeah, nothing works better than meat. Right?
Yeah. The problem with the supplements is that they taste disgusting to me. And every time I've had one, when I was younger trying to put on weight, they were nasty. I thought to myself, why do they always have to be chocolate or vanilla or strawberry? Why can't they just be meat flavored? How about a ribeye steak flavored protein supplement? No, they don't have that. I mean, even chicken flavored, iguana flavored. I mean, come on, why does it always have to be some disgusting fruity or crap? I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Actually, I did an interview with Richard Smith last week. If you check that one out, he explains the mTOR process really well as well, and other things like that. He was European bodybuilding champion at like all natural. Okay, so check that interview out. It's very good. Richard Smith is I think Richard Smith is one of the best nutritionists out there around the world at the moment, and Jonathan's another one. Jonathan's a great nutritionist as well. So both of those two. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry if I skipped some of these comments, guys. I'm trying to catch up a bit, but I heard the D3 is produced inside your skin, and the shower thing is a myth. So I stopped that shower delay thing. No, it's D3 is not produced in your skin. It's produced in cholesterol from your liver, but it's stimulated by sunlight. All right. What happens is that when that enters the blood system, and that then gets secreted through your skin. Okay. And when you're out in the sun, you're kind of sweaty. You start getting sweaty. That's a lot of that. What comes out with that sweat is the D3 coming out to protect your skin. All right, so natural sunblock sort of thing. And if you just leave it, just let that settle in, you absorb more back into your blood system. Okay, it's not a myth actually. Actually, if one of my videos we're talking to Dr. Chafee on cancer and other things, okay, he actually stated like he has measurable differences in his patients. The single difference was they yes, they went out in the sun, but the biggest difference happened when they stopped showering hours afterwards. Their D3 levels went right through the roof, went really high. So like he has measured this differences in those D3 levels. So yeah. I eat calf liver once a week. Yeah, once a week. I mean, that's not going to hurt you. Don't eat copious amounts of it every day. I saw one of Bart K videos, and I remember he said that we need to be out of ketosis at least once a day, and that's through an insulin response that could be achieved by a big bolus of food a day. Yeah, like when you eat a high, even like because of gluconeogenesis, okay, when you eat a high protein meal, you're still going to get that insulin response because of gluconeogenesis when you eat. So when you do eat, you're going to be out of ketosis for maybe a couple of hours, right? You have to eat, and you're not going to be in ketosis all day every day, right? When you're fasting, you're going to be in ketosis most of that point, but you don't fast all the time, right? So just a high protein meal, okay, is going to get you out of ketosis for a certain amount of, however long it takes you to digest it and so on. So, don't worry about that stuff. It's not stuff you need to be worrying about. That's why you're trying OMAD, because you're trying to stay in ketosis. Okay. Again, we're not meant to be staying in ketosis. Okay. You're still going to be producing ketones, all right, and it's just going to fluctuate, and it's supposed to fluctuate, So don't stress about how many ketones you're producing at any one time of the day. Right? It means nothing. Your body will do exactly what it is meant to do if you give it the right food. All right? Simple. Vitamin D level is low. I'd take a vitamin D3 K2 supplement. Yeah, like, okay. The problem is it's a hormone, okay? And when you start supplementing, what you are doing, okay, when you take these things, start ingesting these things, is that you're telling your body that you don't need to produce these hormones anymore because you're taking it orally. All right. So the thing is, you want your body to produce these hormones. So the thing is, I mean, simple hacks that get your sunlight, eat a high fat, high protein diet, carnivore diet, right? Eat eggs, eat meat, get your sunlight, do some grounding. All right, this all helps to produce more and be active, because your body, your endocrine system, your lymphatic system needs circulation, needs muscle contraction, circulation to push these fluids around your body through your blood and everything else. I mean, you want your body to produce these hormones. You don't want to rely on pills all the rest of your life. All right. So that would be, unless you are in hospital, for example, and you are like you have a bad deficiency, like if you're a cancer patient or something like that, then they might intravenously give you these vitamins. Okay. But other than that, you're missing out on your body trying to produce these hormones yourself and these nutrients and so on. Okay. Don't over supplementing will actually disrupt your hormone production as well. All right. So like if you get your circadian biology started first thing in the morning, all right, so you're producing cortisol in the morning to wake up, and you're producing melatonin in the afternoon so that you get sleepy and you will have a good night's sleep. If you start taking all these hormone replacement sort of supplements during the day, you're disrupting your hormone production, and that's going to disrupt your sleep and things like that as well. Okay. And we're getting on to 2 hours, guys. So we're going to finish up in a minute. So I'll try and, I'm sorry I can't get to everyone, but hey, Josephine, good to see you back, mate. Duck flavor would be best. It's all supplements. All right, so I'm just going to skip ahead, guys, to down the bottom here, and we might head off in a minute. Yeah, small steps at a time to be carnivore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just one step at a time, and you will get there. Just trust the process. Trust your body knows what it's doing, because there's more wisdom in your body than in all of human philosophy. There really is. Yeah, and your body knows what to do if you give it the right food. Okay. I think a lot of these diseases too is our body trying to get rid of these toxins that we've been eating and ingesting, and surrounding ourselves with as well. And Rick's having a feed. What do you got there, Rick? Was that heart attack chicken?
Nope.
What's that? Shrimp?
That's right.
Oh, nice.
It's just steamed shrimp. That's all it is.
You're very welcome, Brenda. You're very welcome. We always try to help. So, yeah. Shrimp are great. Shrimp are great. Do you ever do like heart attack shrimp?
Oh yeah, deep fried with pork rinds and eggs, but I don't have enough eggs, so I just steam them for now. But they're fine. I don't put anything on them, no salt or anything. I had to peel them and devein them when I caught them, but they're good shrimp.
You caught them yourself?
Yeah.
Oh wow, where'd you get them?
Down in the Keys,
Oh,
down there
cool.
by Key Largo. I went shrimping with a friend of mine.
Oh, very nice. Can't get fresher than that then. Hey?
That's true.
That's nice. Fresher the better. Love that.
Yeah, I do like seafood. I've eaten a lot of seafood in my life. I don't believe in this so-called lion diet. I believe in the full carnivore diet.
Yeah, I agree. You have to have. I mean, again, like lions would eat seafood as well. They love, cats love seafood, but
Yes, they do.
you have to have a good mix of fats, and nutrients that things like amino acids like taurine, for example, is really high in seafood.
Really?
Yeah, it's not just the omega-3s. Taurine
Mm.
actually, an amino acid actually started in the ocean and actually come up through seafood and everything else as well. So
Sunday night is usually when I have seafood pretty much every week. So
yeah,
it's sort of my diet, I've always done that.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, seafood's great. Seafood's great. I love it. I mean, when I was younger, I never liked it so much. Actually, I never liked the bones and the fish. I never liked the smell, the taste, or anything like that. But after
I
living
love
in
fish.
Japan, yeah, like after living in Japan for 10 years, you can't really avoid it, So, but now, yeah, I love it, and I actually you make my mouth water. Actually, I might I wouldn't mind having some heart attack shrimp. Actually, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, it'd be really good. Mm.
I mean,
So,
the thing is, I think a lot of times people jump on a trend. They may try some sardine thing or whatever, but I
yeah,
believe in the full range of carnivore foods, especially when you've done it as long as I have. I guess it keeps a variety. People want variety. I got plenty of variety. I got
yeah,
beef, people talk about B and E. I talk about B, C, D, I, P. So, you have beef, chicken, iguana, pork,
yeah,
what else? And seafood and eggs. So
yeah. That's
that's
right.
what I like.
Dr. Ballestead always says, but be sure you get your daily meds, right? Which is meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
I do believe seafood is a part of the carnivore diet. Um,
absolutely.
I don't, like I said, lion diet, that's not for me.
No, that honestly, I know it's too like what do they call it? Like it's just too narrow. Like I mean, you can survive on it. That's fine, but you can't thrive on it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You need those mix of fats. Like I said before, lamb, for example, is 10 times higher in omega-3s, and seafood is higher again than that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you need those fats. You need that range of fats.
Right.
And like there's other things involved as well. Like taurine, for example, is vital, and choline. All of these are very high in seafood. Choline, taurine, leucine, other things, they're very, very high in seafood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and I mean, they're great in beef, don't get me wrong, and meat, but seafood and eggs, you got to have them.
Mm-hmm.
They're brilliant. So,
That's right.
yeah. You're very welcome, Brian. I really appreciate you joining the chat with us today, everyone. So thank you all for joining us. I really do appreciate it. But actually, I think we'll call it there. It's been a couple of hours, and we don't want to hold Rick up all night. It's be getting late over there, wouldn't it?
It's after 9.
Okay, yeah.
I
So,
have a habit of staying on way too long because I just want to give people whatever help they need. I mean, if there's anything I can tell them, they must be pretty desperate if they have to come to me for advice. But either
yeah,
that or they're just trying to be friendly.
yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you all very much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
All
Take
right.
care.